Hi, and welcome to Sitecore Standard Values. My name is Sultan Semlali, and I'm Customer Transformation Director at Sitecore. In this podcast, we continuously seek to provide deeper insight into the value of Sitecore as a solution to business problems. With regular episodes from me in EMEA and from my friend Rick in the US, we alternate to bring you a variety of guests to share their perspective and experience through a tapestry of discussions, opinions, and thought experiments. Today, I'm super excited to welcome Tamas Varga, who's Director of Community Programs at Sitecore. He's joining us from the beautiful town of Gödöllő in Hungary. It is amongst the most popular destinations for Austrians visiting Hungary, largely due to the royal palace, former home of Emperor Franz Joseph and Queen Elizabeth. And don't think that I know that, it's just that I did some research on Wikipedia. Tamas is a Sitecore veteran who developed large multi-country, multilingual solutions, managed development teams, ran business developments, trained developers worldwide, and became a Sitecore Most Valuable Professional. As a member of the Sitecore technical marketing team, he engages with the technical community through workshops, meetings, user groups, and leading the Sitecore MVP program. And since we are in the MVP programs seasons, with all the new MVPs received their MVPs, I think, last 2 weeks, I thought it was be great to have actually Tamas on the show. So Tamas, thanks for joining us today.
Absolutely, it's my pleasure. I'm happy to talk about community and MVP all the time.
You have a real passion for it. So I think we met about 9 months ago, I think first time we spoke, and you were speaking with a lot of passion of the MVP program. So can you tell us what the MVP program is all about?
So the MVP program is recognizing individuals in our community who are contributing and sharing their knowledge and expertise in the community in different ways. It's an annual program, so every year we have a new set of MVPs.
Wow. And why did Sitecore start an MVP program, actually?
The MVP program really started to recognize these efforts, because what we really award is something extraordinary, something beyond their day job, something which is an extra what people are doing just because they love Sitecore and they would like to share their knowledge and experience with others. So I think that was the basic idea when we started the program.
Yeah, I remember watching that before I joined Sitecore. I think it's really something unique you have in the market, that you're not only certifying people in a specific technology, but you are really looking at the people that go the extra mile within the technology and to advance as well, actually, a digital experience for their customers. So in your opinion, what makes actually the MVP program unique?
I think the MVP program is unique in the one way that we award people, so they get really the recognition for their work. But on the other hand, the MVP program is much more than just an award. We provide information to the MVPs, but it's not public, so they sign a non-disclosure agreement, so we can share with them the roadmap. We can work together on different feedback sessions. Sometimes if we develop something new and we have options or different ways to implement it, we ask the opinion of the MVPs based on their experience, based on their client base, what would be the best way to implement something. Also, we give them early access to different releases so they can experience the new releases before, and of course, again, can give us feedback. The same with our trainings and exams. We work closely with this MVP group in the MVP program to test the different new offerings in terms of exams and certifications and also trainings. But also we invite the MVPs to different events. They get discount at the user groups or symposium. And we also hold an annual MVP summit where they can meet Sitecore executives and the product teams, and they can network with them, and they can have a much deeper connection with everyone inside Sitecore, and vice versa. Also, the Sitecore employees can meet those individuals who are really influencing our community and have the the best visibility what's going on in the whole ecosystem.
Wow. Yeah. So being an MVP brings you, I didn't realize that brings you so many benefits. So you are almost like 1 foot within the Sitecore company and seeing a lot of things that are happening actually within the organization and also on the outside world. And how are we how are we recognizing or how are we measuring actually MVPs? So how does that work?
So every year in November, the applicants who want to be an MVP, they have to submit an application where they tell us what kind of contributions they did in that calendar year. So usually we talk about blog posts, videos, podcasts, presentations at different events. We have four major categories or areas what we look at. The first is content, what kind of content they created. This can include white papers or case studies, besides blogs and podcasts. Also, we do have a category for engagement, which is more engagement in social media and then different online platforms like the community forum or the community Slack or Stack Exchange. We also have an area what we are looking at is public speaking. Of course, speaking at symposium or one of the user group conferences is a big plus. But any kind of public speaking, what hopefully recorded and can be validated, is a really good contribution. And the last part is references and feedback. So this means that someone created again like a case study or something, work with our references team to work with other customers or potential customers, or provided feedback. As I mentioned, if someone is an MVP, they can provide feedback to our software, or they can provide feedback to our trainings and exams. But also feedback could be reporting bugs in our support system. So these are the four major areas, and in every area we are looking at quality, quantity, and visibility. So of course, you can imagine someone speaking at symposium has a bit higher visibility than a local user group with a couple of people. So that's what we try to measure. But also quantity is kind of important because we need to see that someone is doing something for the community, but the quality is much more important. So we always say that if you don't do too many blog posts, but if you do a couple of blog posts, but they provide quality contribution to the community, that's more valuable than creating a blog post every day, but no quality in there.
Okay. So people are submitting that in November, and then it all lands in your inbox and you go through all the content. Is that how your month of November looks like?
So November, so we do have an MVP website, which is an open source solution. So everyone can look at on GitHub what we do and how we are managing the website and how we are collecting this information. But so it lands in a system, and this system is collecting all these applications in November. And in December and January, I work with about 100 people, existing MVPs, also regional, and also we usually say corporate individuals in a company who are reviewing all the applications. Existing MVPs are reviewed by 2 or 3 people. New applicants are reviewed by 4, 5, sometimes 6 individuals. We want to make sure that every applicant gets the chance and reviewed by really an independent team. And again, this review based on these 4 areas and the 3 parts, what I just mentioned, quality, quantity, and visibility. And usually based on all these reviews, we get a score for everyone. And based on the scores, someone is above a certain scale, they are automatically MVPs. If they are in between the yes and no, we have a kind of maybe category. And I do have calls with all the individuals who are leading the different categories. For the ambassador category, also for the strategy and the technology category, we have individuals, and we make decisions based on what we have seen, and we try to make sure that we have all the information to make those decisions. And as you mentioned, end of January, so like 2 weeks ago, we announced the new set of MVPs.
Yeah, that's really impressive. And from how many submissions do you get, and how many MVPs did you get at the end of the day?
We usually not publicize the number of applications. There are
Okay.
hundreds and hundreds of those applications.
Oh, wow.
This year,
Okay.
we have 241 MVPs awarded, and
Hmm.
this is all around the globe. And again, a really diverse group of individuals in
Hmm.
four or three MVP categories. We have an ambassador category, we have a strategy category, and we have technology category.
Okay. And what do you understand by this ambassador strategy and technical category? What does that entice?
So the MVP program started with the technology category because back
Yeah.
in 2008, when the program started, Sitecore was really a technical product, and usually individuals in the community contributed with blog posts and helping each other on the technical terms. But later on, as Sitecore also went into the more marketing automation and marketing space, we realized that not only technology individuals, but those who are working, not like you can look at it. Technology is those individuals who are using the product to build something,
Hmm.
and the strategy category, which might be not the best term, but like in strategy, you can include everyone who is working with the product. So
Yeah.
all the marketing professionals who are creating all the marketing automations, who are working with the email campaigns, who everyone again who is using the platform. And
Hmm.
in the ambassador category, so as much as strategy and technology is really sharing their knowledge to the community to get more knowledge, the
Yeah.
ambassador category is more around growing the community, helping us to spread the word of Sitecore and helping to grow the community either in their own organization or
Hmm.
outside in the industry.
Okay. Well, that's super interesting that you cover as well as the tech, technology piece, the use and the strategy piece, and finally the ambassador piece. I think it's really nice to see that all those scopes are being covered. And um, so we have 241 this year MVPs. Is that more than the year before, or is the number growing, or is that a stable number of MVPs that we have?
I would say it's a stable number. It's a little bit less. In 2018, we had the most number of MVPs, and since that, it's a little bit consolidated in different ways.
Hmm.
Of course, the pandemic didn't help in terms of contribution. People spent way too much time in front of computers, and they didn't have time and energy to give something extra.
Yeah.
But I would say that around this 240 is a stable number in the last couple of years.
Yeah. And I think that's a sizable community worldwide that is getting access actually to a lot of things that you are engaging with during the whole year.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And this is what we say, that this is less than 1% or the top of the 1% of our community. So the community, we estimate about 30,000 people. And
hmm,
so the MVP really represents the top 1%.
yeah, and that's actually a great bunch to have. And if you look at um, the topics that are trending or subjects that the MVPs are working with, you probably have seen a change over the years. So what is currently trending? What are they mostly interested or working on?
Of course, as the industry and also Sitecore is moving towards composable and the latest technologies, including the different JavaScript frameworks and again the software as a service, the
Yeah,
topics change in some way. But of course, we also have many customers still on the Sitecore platform, so there are a lot of information coming about upgrading to the latest platforms and moving from the platform to composable. So I think these are the main topics these days. Of course, having all the new offerings in terms of more SaaS products and more marketing automations and more marketing functions in the Sitecore suite. That's also something covered by a lot of strategy MVPs as they work with these new products.
yeah, yeah. That extends, I think, the scope of conversation. And um, let's say that I think when I was a kid, I was watching the NBA and I wanted to be a basketball MVP. Unfortunately, I didn't have the length or the talent. So can I become a Sitecore MVP, and what should I do?
So you cannot be a Sitecore MVP because you
No.
work for Sitecore. So Sitecore employees cannot be MVPs, unfortunately. But anyone in the community can become a Sitecore MVP. Basically, what you really need to do is to contribute to the community, creating podcasts like this one, or creating blog posts, or supporting your peers in online channels, and maybe speaking at different user groups or meetups, what Sitecore have, and also the user group conferences or symposium. So these are all absolutely possible ways to become an MVP. And we do have a mentor program. We call it the Community Mentor Program. So if you don't know how to start this community contribution, we have existing MVPs who volunteer to help you with your journey. So you just send an email to the MVP team, and you will sign up to the mentor program, and we will assign you an MVP, and you will work together with that MVP for the next 10, 12 months. And they will guide you through the process, how to do it, how to be visible, how to be recognized. And in November, you will be able to apply.
Wow. That's really cool. I think that's really cool that you have an entire community, like it takes a village to build an MVP. I think that's kind of what is happening, and that's really nice. I didn't realize that. And so you mentioned a number of events. I think in most region of the world we have a Sitecore user group, SUGs, and I think within a couple of weeks we'll have SugCon, the new edition of SugCon. I saw the flag behind you, so.
Exactly. The user group conference in Europe is coming in 5 weeks in Malaga, Spain. We do have a couple of more tickets to grab. I think that's the best opportunity to learn about Sitecore. And, we welcome all the practitioners. So it's not like just a developer event. It's an event for practitioners who are either using Sitecore to build something or using Sitecore as a marketing tool. Everyone is welcome. We have a dedicated track for marketeers this year, but also all the years before we had that. But this year we also have dedicated tracks for XM Cloud, because that's a really hot topic coming up. And also we have a dedicated track we call Path to Composable. So we try to list all the speaks or the presentations about how to become composable. So I really think that this will be a great event. Keynote speakers from Sitecore executives. And also the closing keynote will be done by Scott Hanselman from Microsoft, who is a really big name in the technical community. So I think it's really worth coming to Malaga. Again, we do have a couple of tickets. And if someone is referring to this podcast, I might be able to give you some discount.
Oh, there you go. So if you're listening to this and you were just about to order, send us an email, put it somewhere to Tamas that you heard it through SugCon. Even though you were already planning to go, just go. You might get an extra discount. So it's always good to have. So before we end up, this podcast is called Sitecore Standard Values. So as an MVP, you probably know what a Sitecore standard value is. So Tamas, what is your standard value?
So actually, when you listed my my history with Sitecore, before joining Sitecore, I worked 10 years at a Sitecore partner, and I was also a Sitecore trainer. So I really did training people in different places all over the globe, from Japan to India and all over in Europe. Wow. So, but really my standard value is really Sitecore community. And I really always come back to this, because all the individuals in the community give me so much and give each other so much, that this is for me a standard. This is something what I haven't seen before, and I don't think I will ever see again. But this community is a standard, and I wish that this community strives and grows in the future.
Yeah. I fully agree. I also have a background with other software vendor in the past, and that's the first community that I see that is so thriving and even actually helping people joining the community to their path to become MVPs, sharing knowledge, working together, having those user groups around the world, and especially in Malaga, which is a good destination. So, Tamas, I really want to thank you for taking the time today. And I want to thank everyone for tuning in. If you enjoyed this episode, please check the other episodes in your podcasting app or on the YouTube channel. Don't forget to click on the thumbs up, the like, the share, the subscribe, and everything. And a wise person told me, knowledge that is not shared is knowledge wasted. So please share this knowledge, share everything, and let's build a great community. Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Thomas.
Thank you.